When you open a research paper, there are many ways to go about doing the same thing. Uh, since I'm going to focus here on checking to see that sources have been cited in the paper. So when you get a research paper, scroll through it and look for parenthetical citations, which are called in-text citations. And when you find one, like this says C. Demery, for example, scroll to the Works Cited page and look for a source that starts with Demery. There's Allen, Baker, Danhoff. There's Demery. So we know at this point that here is the full citation, and you can tell it's print, 1819 to 1860, printed in 1941. Anyway, so we know that Demery is cited in the paper by checking for the full citation on the Works Cited page. So in a case like that, I put a check mark. Once I discovered that the source is cited in the paper, I put a check mark right here, or somehow keep track of, yes, that has been cited. I haven't checked the citation yet. I'm just checking to see that it has been cited in the paper. And as you can tell, this paper is just a wonderfully entertaining title. Ugh. So I'm going to continue until I see the next parenthetical citation. That's in parentheses, but it's not a citation. And in MLA, the word, there's one, Danhoff, 5. Now in MLA, we use the first word of the full citation and then the page number. No commas after Danhoff, no PG for page or P for page. MLA just wants the first word of the citation, and if it's a numbered article, then the page number. If this was an online source, it would just say Danhoff. So I'm going to check to see if Danhoff's on here. There it is. I haven't checked the citation yet, but there it is. So I know it's been cited in the paper. There's another one, Danhoff 7. We know Danhoff has already been cited. This just happens to come from page 7. And here's one for Hurt, 127. So I'm going to scroll to the Works Cited page and make sure there is an entry for Hurt. There it is. So I know that source has been cited in the paper. And this is how I go about it. I tend to do things my own way, and over the years I found this is the quickest way to check for in-text citations. Whether the paper is accurate or not is a different story. But I'm just here to show you how to check that sources on the Works Cited page have actually been cited, documented in the paper itself. And as you can see, they continue. I'm not going to go through every one of them because I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. There's a Danhoff, Hurt. Now notice here, it says Hurt 127, and then the student continues. And then we have a parenthetical with 128 with no word in front of it. that means it comes from the same source as the one previously mentioned. So this stuff up here came from page 127. This stuff came from page 128, and as we continue, we'll see that this came from page 128, also from the Hurt. And there's page 172 from the Hurt source. There's Danhoff again. And Danhoff again. So this is what I suggest doing to make sure that each source on the works cited page has actually been cited in the paper, i.e. there is an in-text citation leading readers to the full citation on the works cited page. It's important to check this because sometimes students will put a citation on the works cited page that they have not mentioned in the paper at all. If that's the case, the citation does not belong on the works cited page. It's not a bibliography. You know, bibliography is all the stuff I read to help me write this paper. A works cited page is all the sources I used to write this paper. So if you use a source in the paper, it comes in a combination. There's an in-text citation that leads to the full citation on the works cited page. I always check these things to make sure that there is that the paper is properly cited. Okay? So always make sure the in-text citation and the full citation on a works cited page are married. They come in pairs. So if I see this, there better be a full citation on the works cited page that starts with Danhoff. Remember, it's the first word of the full citation that goes in here. Whether it's an author's last name or the first word of an article that doesn't have an author. The point being, you have to make it easy for your readers to find the source you're using. See, this is a direct quote from Danhoff. Without this, we don't know where this came from. So it ends up kind of plagiarized, sort of half plagiarized. We have a quote, but we don't know where it came from. This right here is really important. They also have to use an in-text citation when they paraphrase. Here's something that she read from Hurt on page 127, but she put it in her own words. She paraphrased it. She still has to tell us where the idea came from with an in-text citation. All right, that is the first thing I would check when you are trying to determine whether the sources on the works cited page or the reference page have actually been cited in the document. That's all part of documentation. Okay. Thank you, and I hope that helps. It's sort of just a guideline. You may find your own way to do it, but always make sure that the married couple is not divorced. They can't be divorced. They're not allowed to be. There must be a full citation for the in-text citation, and vice versa. If it's on the works cited page, it has to have been used somewhere in the paper. Always check for that. Like this John Lorraine. It's got to be mentioned in the paper somewhere. Sometimes rather than scrolling and trying to find it, I will use the find command let's see, I think it's Command F. Yeah. I'm going to search for Lorraine here. Lorraine. Oh, I see he is mentioned in the paper. And because she mentioned him in the lead in to the quote, she doesn't have to put Lorraine 1 here. She's already mentioned him here. So she just has to tell us what page. I am always available to answer questions about documentation too. So if you ever have a question that you can't find an answer to, shoot me an email or call me and I'll try to walk you through it. Because sometimes these things can be very tricky. But it's important that students know the purpose of documentation and the correct ways to go about doing it.